$20 million is a lot of money. You can get a lot of really nice things with $20 million. But today, we learned that the Philadelphia Phillies decided to spend $20 million to pay Nick Castellanos to not come to spring training, Marshall.
We'll talk about it. The team has announced it's cutting ties with our one-time marquee signing, you might remember. And there's some new information right from the source about one of the incidents that may have led to this divorce, Jake. We'll dig into the latest chapter in a very drawn-out breakup for the love of Broad Street.
Broad Street, welcome back to the show. I'm Jake. That's Marshall. The Phillies pitchers and catchers have reported to spring training.
Let's go.
It's a time usually filled with sunshine and happiness for baseball fans everywhere. But for us Phillies fans, this dark cloud has been hanging over our heads.
Yeah.
And that dark cloud is named Nick Castellanos. A one-time star turned like kind of platoon option has now been outright released.
Gone.
And that $20 million salary is walking out the door with him.
And we're learning a lot more about why, and it's a situation now being referred to as the Miami incident, as
sounds
Casty
like a bad
referred to
80s
it.
movie, right? it coming up next on the Miami incident.
Casty self-reported this, Jake, and apparently brought a beer into the bench during a game. And he says he was benched the following game because of the incident. Dombrowski says that this wasn't the only reason he was released, but it cannot have helped, Jake.
Yeah, I'm thinking it was at least a part of it.
Yeah.
This is why. So, let's unpack this. Okay, he's mad about the communication between the management and the players. He's upset because he thinks certain rules are being enforced very strictly while others aren't.
Right.
Forget baseball. If you're just talking normal boss-employee relation, I think those are really valid concerns. And I think concerns that a boss would want to hear about. But instead of just telling him, Casty cracks a cold one right next to him, Topper that is, and is like, "You got to figure it out, boss." What? This guy is wild. And luckily, I guess Howie Kendrick apparently grabbed the beer out of his hand before he could drink it, because there's some line that you can't cross.
Yeah.
If you drink a beer on the bench, it's like a very serious.
Yeah. That's a no-no.
Right. I mean,
well, it's like drinking at work, Jake, if you think about it.
I guess.
Drinking on the job.
But I just, how dramatic do you have to be to just well, boss, I got a problem with you. This is great. It's like the Wild West.
And it's he brings in a Presidente to the bench. I think that the funniest thing about all this is the way that this came out, Jake. Nick Castellanos admits this publicly because he says that there's a report that's going to come out about this anyway, which that in and of itself, there's always reports in sports, Jake, and some are verified, some are not. Some are substantiated by the players, some are not. He almost could have, given a oh, hey, well, that didn't really happen, response to this if he wanted to. But you know what? He I guess to his credit almost, he's like, I'll be transparent about this. Yeah, I brought a beer on the bench. I want to get ahead of this. And I told the coach, screw you, bro. Fix this.
Yeah.
You need to be using your best players in the right ways. And we're not going to win anything if you're taking me out of the game. By the way, Nick was just sucking for the majority of this season, Jake.
Yeah, and the thing that really bugs me is that at the time we were told it was a defensive replacement.
Yeah.
Right. And if you're Nick Castellanos, I could see how that would like kind of damage your ego a little bit. But I don't know if you recall on a past podcast, statistically, he was the third worst corner outfielder in the game. Not on like the entire league. He was horrible.
Oh
So
boy.
like, hey, like if it's one of the if you're like mid pack and you're like, coach, like I can do this. That's one thing. But like, if you're Rob Thompson, you're just going, well, Nick, you're horrible at defense. Like I have the numbers. You're atrocious.
You're bad,
Get
bro.
down. And like that, of all the thing, like if it was like a hustle thing or
Yeah.
it's something,
An effort.
maybe
Yeah.
maybe you could give a little more credence to Nick's argument. I just think it was a dumb argument to make, and then he handled it in almost the worst way he could have.
Yeah.
Like where did he get the beer from? Like, are they just
Yes.
in the fridge in the back? Like, or did he bring that with him because he's like, I'm going to use this as a prop sometime?
Right. I mean, maybe they have coolers in their own clubhouse, Jake, but are they bringing
That
road
was in
beers
Miami,
in
right?
Miami? Right. Yeah. Like they have
Road
just
sodas.
a cooler in the back. Just, oh yeah, pop me out a Presidente. What a
Yeah, right.
specific thing to say
I
too.
I
Weird.
don't
Very
know, man.
weird.
I don't know. He should. This is just like the best part of this whole thing is it's kind of like it is crazy. But if you were like this happened, pick a guy on the roster that did this, we'd be all be like Castellanos.
Probably Casty.
He's just like complete wild card. To your point, I think this was his attempt to get out in front of this
Yeah.
and tell other teams like sign me. This was this was like a ploy to send a message to a coach. I wasn't trying to be a bad teammate. I wasn't trying to be a bad player. Like,
Right.
but at the same time, to your like to the first point you made, which I think is a very good one, the Phillies swept this under the rug,
Of
like the
course.
organization.
Yeah.
So if this article comes out and Nick denies it, and then the Phillies deny it, I
Yeah.
think as fans,
We'd
we'd
be
all
like,
be like, "Oh, it's
okay.
a fake news,"
Yeah.
like it wasn't true. So it probably could have gotten away with this one.
I agree.
So I don't know if it was him being a stand-up guy or the complete opposite, where he's trying to save his own butt.
Yeah.
But it's one of those two things.
Well, maybe he's got a PR guy in his ear saying like, "Hey,
Yeah,
let's make
agent or
this
something.
Yeah, let's make this happen right now. It will look like you are more transparent. It will
Right.
improve the possibility that other teams will be interested in you. If there is a report hanging over your head when you're going into negotiations with other franchises, they're likely going to ask about that. So
Yeah.
if you look like, well, I came out and I came clean, right? Like I made a mistake, I'm human. That probably bodes better for you than, no, that report's garbage. But then teams are probably going to find out after doing some, because the connections in the league, Jake. Somebody,
Right.
somebody somewhere in one of these front offices
Would know.
gonna squeal, or
Right.
that word has gotten around probably internally in the league that this is what happened. That's probably how the story was going to happen at all, right? Like that's
Right.
probably how this got
Someone
leaked.
squawked. Yeah.
Yeah, so
It-
it's tough for him to do damage control once it's out in the public. I get that.
Yeah. I want to preface this by telling all the ladies and gentlemen that we might be somewhat experts in this field. You're a journalist.
Mhm.
I work in PR.
Yeah.
So this is kind of our thing, right? Like
Yeah.
how do we this story's getting out. What do we do now, right?
Right.
So let's say you're correct and like they were convinced like this thing's going to get out anyway. Let's get out in front of it. He doesn't say I wasn't going to drink it. It was just a ploy. He's like, I almost drank it.
Somebody else stop me.
But thank goodness for Howie Kendrick that he saved me from drinking it. Maybe the PR guy was onto something, but he could use a little bit more training
Yeah.
in this area. Because, like, Nick, if you need someone, call me. I could have helped with that letter. And
Honestly.
we could have done a better job at making you come out a little bit rosier than you are right now, which
Also-
is like. He just made it seem like it was up to his lips. It was like, I'm gonna do it.
I love the iced tea in the frame
Oh
too.
yeah.
The
Oh yeah.
Pennsylvania iced tea.
Yeah,
Like,
Gears, baby.
let's go, let's
Schuylkill
go.
County Zone. I can't get it to be not blurry,
Put it
but
in front of your
Schuylkill
face.
County
Yeah.
Zone, Gears iced tea.
Yeah. So the other part of that, Jake, that I thought was really interesting is that he just took a picture of a handwritten note and Jake, that he scribbled out
Oh
this
yeah.
note and then tried to cross things out and he didn't fully redact what he had written the first time around. So it's like it says, oh, well, it's in Miami, and it says a close game is what he ends up writing. But you can
Right.
clearly
Yeah.
see, that he scratched out one run game.
What?
Like,
Rob Thompson is a jerk. Oh wait, great coach. Yeah.
Basically, it just
Oh.
it felt. I now examining it now and thinking about how this came out, I think it may be more likely that he did not have any input, or maybe somebody said something to him like, "You should probably talk about this," but I don't think that he okayed this with anybody before he hit
Yeah,
post
this
on
this seems like this seems like a
Instagram.
guy, stewing at home. It's like I gotta do something. Like I gotta
Right.
fix it. I gotta fix it now. And it's like, just to not have the thought of like, I'll get a new piece of paper. No,
No,
no.
no.
I'll
This
do
is a
one
one shot,
strike
one
through. Yeah,
opportunity.
it's just like I feel bad because like this dude was probably agonizing over this,
He
and
probably
it's
was.
just the final product is just rough. And like, listen, I could never hit a baseball like Nick Castellanos,
No.
and I'm fully willing to admit that. But just like he could have done 20 things better
Yeah,
than what he ended up doing, and it just looks so bad.
it
And it's
does.
like we were talking about this before we went live. We got to remember this guy was a huge signing.
Yeah, kind of like
Like
a cornerstone sort of a signing. Yeah.
we paid him more than Kyle Schwarber.
Yeah.
Kyle Schwarber got less money than this guy,
Yeah.
which is nuts. And in hindsight, it's nuts. I think at the time, maybe you could say, oh, because the defense might be a little better, blah, blah, blah. But I mean, where we are now, how the mighty have fallen, Marshall.
I know it is, and it's really been precipitous. The last two seasons have been a sharp, in my opinion, decline for Castellanos, not just in the fielding department, but in the hitting department. Plate discipline has always been questionable for him, but I
Yeah, he
think
never really had it, to be honest.
but in 2025, I thought we saw the
It was
worst
like record
version
low. Yeah.
of
There's
of the plate
if you
discipline.
throw a baseball, I will swing at it. That was kind of where we were, especially if it was like first pitch. He's like, no, you could throw this ball in the stands.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take a hack.
And the way he swings that thing like a club sometimes going up
Yeah.
there. It's like he's trying to hit the dirt basically with the end of that
it's
bat.
so hard. Yeah, he swings so hard, and it's great. Like Kyle Schwarber swings hard, but he just hits it a lot more.
He's got the contact, but he's got a shorter swing. It's like it's quicker.
Yeah.
It's faster to the ball. Like it just
a little
feels
more
like
Utley-esque than
it's
like a Casties is like a
the
big
wind up.
lumbering
Yeah. Boom.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's got to really be on point and time up the pitch right. It feels like Schwarber's got more time in the zone to be able to make contact with it. I don't know, but
Right.
It's a departure of a player that was at times probably one of the most liked. I mean, let's review this, Jake. One of the better liked players in this city, and really like with his son and in the stands, especially during that playoff run in 2022, and then the year after. He had big moments in big games in some of those series.
That's the thing is you could say anything you want to about his ups and downs. This is probably even still, I might say, might go down as one of the most clutch Philadelphia Phillies of all time.
Yeah.
When the lights were the brightest, this dude didn't matter how well he was playing, would get that big hit, would make really clutch defensive plays. I'm thinking of the Astros game where he basically won us that game with a diving catch in the outfield. And remember, he's statistically horrible at fielding, but it just feels like when there was a big moment, he was going to be able to make something happen. And you, there's a lot of guys that can hit. There's a lot of guys that can field. That clutch thing, like not everybody has
Yeah,
that.
that's a
And
gene. Yeah.
I think we are going to miss that to some extent. I'm not going to miss the drama. I'm not going to miss the little spats he kept having with Topper and the front office. I'm not going to miss that.
Yeah.
But I think I'm going to miss like the just straight vibe guy that was Nick Castellanos in Philadelphia.
Absolutely. And all those very timely home runs.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, right.
Timed
Like
to
anytime there
tragedy.
was, yeah, if there was a crisis going on, you're just like, oh, well, I mean, at least Nick
Cassie's gonna
Castellanos
homer.
will homer tonight. And he would. He just always would. It was pretty awesome. I think there was one, I'm not a big sports better, but I'm pretty sure one of the sports books, like when there was some tragedy that happened, they actually yanked Nick Castellanos' home run off their book because they were like, it's gonna happen.
Yep.
We're not losing money on this.
So good. Again, a player that it's tough to really. I think time will give us more perspective on what kind of caliber player Nick Castellanos was for this Phillies
Right.
organization, and I think that will the following years here, this year and next year, will tell us a lot too. I mean, if this team slides without him, maybe we'll be looking back and thinking, okay, he was more of a contributor than we give him credit for. But I don't, right now at least, see that being the case, especially adding an Adolis Garcia to this lineup. I think this was the right move, though the number is a tough one to swallow, Jake.
Yeah, it's just crazy to me being like a normal kid growing up and now a normal guy with a normal job to just look at the fact that we're paying him $20 million
Yeah.
to not play for us.
Don't
You
show
know,
up.
like if I'm the front office, I'm gonna be quite candid with you. I'd bring him to spring training and see how he did. I would not just let him walk. Because here's the thing. He's getting that $20 million. We cut him.
Mm-hmm.
Now any team can sign him for the league minimum.
Right.
So like for anyone else, that's
Beautiful
like the
opportunity.
perfect flyer, right?
Yeah.
Like that's you're getting this proven pro. Now, granted, statistics show he didn't have a great year the last couple years, but you're getting a proven pro
Right.
for like rookie money.
Mm-hmm.
So if I'm if I'm the Washington Nationals
Right.
or I'm the Pittsburgh Pirates,
Yeah.
hi Nick, would you like to come play? I'd be on the phone with him now. Nice letter, Nick. That was really great.
Yeah.
You want to come to Pittsburgh? Like it's just
I'm really glad you
it's
crossed out that one portion. If you had left it,
right.
it would have been
They're
horrible.
just gassing him up. Your handwriting's super. But like it's such a low risk. We've opened the door for every other team to make a really good addition for like as close to free as you can get in Major League Baseball.
Yeah.
So I just I I'm not gonna say I disagree with the move, but it does sit weird with me as just a person to pay a
Right.
guy $20 million to not be on your team.
Just sit around for
Right.
the time being, at least. I think there will be suitors out there, Jake, to your point. And it's going to be a team that maybe is middling or is really dealing with some budget constraints. I think you're right. Like,
Right.
the lower end of the league, the Sox, the Tampa Bay
Right.
Rays, and those sorts of organizations that don't typically spend a lot in terms of payroll. I mean, he'll put some people in the seats just to see him, show up and try to swing after tragedy. If we've got more of that coming down the line, I
Yeah,
mean,
right.
we'll see.
But listen, I'm pretty confident there's going to be more tragedies.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't like to think there's going to be a lot, but I'm pretty confident there's going to be a few.
Yeah.
And like everyone will just say, well, the Nationals or the Pirates are probably going to win tonight because Castellanos is going to go 3 for 4 with 2 dingers
Yeah.
and 5 RBIs.
Yeah, this is again the number is scary to me, but I still think it's the right decision. We do have to address the elephant in the room, Jake, which is our attire.
Yeah.
We just wanted to show our respect to the Phillies career of Nick Castellanos here in Philadelphia, and we felt it was appropriate to show up in our funeral best for the
Yeah.
young lad. So
Black is the color of mourning, or so I'm told.
yes,
So
and
I can confirm the last time I wore this jacket was at a funeral. So this is what it's for, and you're getting it, folks.
we have another funeral to talk about a little bit later in the show that comes from across the street.
A much
Uh,
sadder funeral,
a much
if we have to
sadder
be honest.
and heartbreaking funeral. So stay
Yeah.
tuned for that one. But hey, let's talk about some positive news, Jake, when it comes
Yeah.
to the Phillies and their pitching depth.
Right.
Take it away.
Yeah. So I think we could all kind of see this coming. Wheeler's not going to be ready for opening day. They,
Yeah.
they, they have him listed as doubtful. He got a rib removed. Like he's not playing in March.
No.
Okay, so I think we all kind of figured that, but I think this report is kind of making that official. We're looking to add pitching depth. Uh, that tells me a couple things. One, it says the confidence in one Andrew Painter might not be like through the roof.
Got it. Yeah.
Um, maybe it's higher than I think, and they're just trying to hedge their bets with maybe another player getting injured, maybe a guy underperforming. Maybe they're just trying to have backup, which could be the case. But we also were kind of told the JT re-sign was like the last kind of big move,
Yeah.
which hurts my heart a little bit because we have Zach Gallen, Giolito, and Bassett just sitting on their couch right now
Right.
when pitchers and catchers have already reported. And I'm just thinking like, hey, anybody want to sign a 1 year deal
Those are good
and come
arms.
be come be a number, one or two or
Hmm.
it right now, and then when Wheeler comes back, be a 2 or 3. Like we get one of those guys. I feel like you turn into like a super rotation, rivaling like what Detroit's looking like this year.
Right.
Without them, it's a lot more mundane. If you ask me, 1 and 2, like it's kind of a top heavy. 1 and 2 are amazing, and then what do you get out of Luzardo and Nola?
Hmm.
Um, but so uh, there were a couple names thrown out there: Jose Quintana, Aaron Savale, which is they were with both with Milwaukee at one point last year. Savale kind of bounced around. He had a 4.8 ERA, but they're free agents too that aren't going to be like super
Probably big
huge money
money. Yeah.
signings, right? So that might be something they look to. Quintana, I like Quintana. He always gave us some trouble when he was with the Mets, and I think he'd be a decent addition for like kind of the role that they're looking for. But they also opened that silly little thing that we like to call the trade block. So I don't know when they start throwing that around, then you go, well, what are we going to give up to
Right. What are
and
the
versus what are we
pieces?
going to get?
Yeah.
I think you could argue we are really oddly heavy in the catching department prospect wise.
Hmm.
Maybe that's a route we go. Bullpen arm, maybe. I'm just not sure like the quality we'd be willing to give up versus the quality we're willing to get.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's especially because we have just solidified the catching position, Jake,
Right.
that makes you think that catcher could be a spot that we might look to move on. But
Right.
I don't know. You made that point. That we've kind of heard, hey, this was the last big move. I don't know that we can expect anything in terms of trades. It could be again somebody who's just going to be able to come in and give you some innings until what? May,
Well,
May,
that's what
June?
you
That's
don't
the
really
question.
know. It's not like a broken bone. When you break a
Yeah,
bone, you're like, 4 to 6 weeks, and you're like almost locked down in that timetable. It's
right.
gonna be 4 to 6.
Yeah,
It's not even like a sprain where they're like, oh, it could be 6 to 8, or it could be as early as 3, but we just don't know. At least there's like some type of, but I think there's been one other recent MLB player that's had this injury. So you can kind of look at his timetable, but everybody's different.
hmm,
And it's not like a normal injury to obtain. So
yeah.
you can't rush back from it. The guy doesn't have a rib, which by the way, I don't know if you saw the report. He like keeps it in his closet. I'm not sure what I'd do if I had a rib removed, but I don't think it'd be that. I don't think I'd just like kind of like, oh, I'm gonna keep this. Like,
It's always
like
with him, Jake.
in case he needs it again, like
It's part of him. What do you want him to do?
make it into like a steak knife. Anyone need a knife? That's my rib. Yeah, what a wild. That's just I'm not poking fun because it was a scary thing, but
Yeah.
how bizarre is that?
To keep it to keep. I mean,
Yeah,
if you given the option, what are you gonna do? Throw part of your body away forever? I don't know.
yeah,
Like,
I'm not sure. I really haven't thought about it. I just feel like the keep it in your closet thing isn't the right answer. If
you know
there is
what?
a right answer.
If I was to do that and I, survived and everything's good, I might put it in like a display case,
Yeah, it'd
especially,
be like
like
this
up.
is the thing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Hey,
Remember?
I'm missing one of them. It's up there on the
Yeah.
wall. Check it
I
out.
wonder I wonder if he like looks skinnier now. You know what I mean? Like you take
Yeah,
the one rib away.
a little
Like
bit
look
thinner.
how lean Zach looks. No, he's missing a rib now.
Yeah. Or his waist is just a little more cinched,
Yeah, he's like a
right?
little
Yeah.
little snatched look, right?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
the V taper.
Right.
This is a weird
It's
podcast.
really going to accentuate his hips
Yeah.
in this.
Imagine those guys in the batter's box. Man, he looks good.
Yeah. You've been working out, Zach?
Yeah.
Jeez. Hey,
Oh,
it's an exciting time though because I mean, it's February, but it's starting to change a little bit, at least where I am. Feeling a little bit warmer than it was the last couple of weeks around here, which is nice. But it's also feeling more like baseball season is upon
oh
us.
yeah.
We're 10 days away from the first spring game for the Phillies and 20 days away from the World Baseball Classic,
Yes.
where we get
I'm
to
s-
see some Phillies in action, right, Jake?
yeah, I'm just so happy. Like the World Baseball Classic, spring training is nice. I like it.
Yeah,
But it's fun to watch competitive baseball.
you're right.
Like those guys care.
Hmm.
It I think people like question how much it really matters, but like those guys are playing bait. They're not like taking, they're not pulling pitches. They're not doing anything like that. They're playing as hard as they can.
Yeah,
And I love watching that because in spring training, I think it gets, you might see the starters in for 2 or 3 innings and then they're yanked. These guys are going to play. And I think it's actually going to be really helpful for Aaron Nola, who did not make the USA squad, but is playing for Italy. Um, and the classic Aaron Nola arc is like really slow start.
yeah.
I wonder getting going for him competitively earlier. It might work out for him. Who
It
knows?
may. Yeah,
And if nothing else, it'll be fun to watch.
yeah. I mean, you do worry a little bit about the injury stuff with him,
Right.
obviously, but I don't think that having, especially with a guy who's been around this long, having more competitive at bats this early in the year, I don't think that's a bad thing, especially
Yeah.
given how up and down the last couple of years have been for him. And a lot of that has been injury related, I know, but I think that he needs to find that consistency. And we talked about it last year during the playoff run. Like you needed Aaron Nola to step up and play big. Um, he performed okay, I would say, but it wasn't like the superstar Aaron Nola that we needed with the
Right.
absence of Zach Wheeler in that series.
Yeah, I think the benefit was if Nola pitched like Nola, you kind of had two ones in Sanchez and Wheeler, and then you had a two in Nola pitching
Hmm.
at three.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, excuse me, he was pitching like a three, which is not how you wanted to see that. You wanted to see kind of like him pitching above that station because he can do it. I still think it's in there. I just again, I really think the World Baseball Classic might be like a nice change of pace.
Yeah.
Hey, get on the mound in a situation that actually matters. It's not spring training where like Nola's kind of like a lax guy. He's not really fiery or anything like that. I think he needs the competition to kind of get him to that
Yeah. The
place.
extra edge. Yeah.
And you just wonder if he's such a seasoned pro now. You wonder if spring training does it for him anymore,
True. That's
and
fair.
might not, and maybe this will.
Maybe it will. We are going to move across the street, Jake. Obviously, the Phillies are coming up real soon here in a couple of weeks, but
Mm.
there's some talk in Philly about another sports superstar, and I want to get to this before we get to another funeral, Jake, which is the AJ Brown saga. A new
Ah,
chapter
yes.
in the AJ Brown saga this week when AJ went on a podcast with none other than Penn State alum and Green Bay Packer, former Dallas Cowboy Micah Parsons, to discuss his time with the Eagles last season and talk about his future with the Eagles. Interesting things to say, Jake, about his experience last year and Kevin Patullo. AJ saying change is good
Yeah.
and that he's excited for next season. He talked about, KP put in all the effort and he gave him a lot of credit and he was, putting his heart into it. But Jake, I think even Jalen before last season knew that, like in that final press conference that he had, final scrum in the locker room, um, that he was not going to be the answer for offensive coordinator. I think this whole offense knew he wasn't going to be the answer for offensive coordinator. Jalen said last year,
Yeah.
I think there might be another role for Kevin on this offense. Um, so I think maybe AJ knew, hey, Kevin's in over his head here, hasn't called plays before, doesn't really know how to design an offense, and was kind of thrust into this role because we had some vacancies. Maybe that makes all the difference for AJ Brown in this offense, Jake. What do you think?
Yeah, I hope so. I just find it so weird that he was being such a drama queen
Yeah.
all season,
Yeah, really.
and now he's all rosy.
I
The
know.
so like maybe it really was his only problem was with Kevin Patullo. Maybe that was the case
It could be.
because it kind of seemed like when he was doing his little public freakouts that he was like against the whole organization and he was having problems with Hertz and he was having problems with Nick and and the problems were on all sides and there were a few weeks in there where I was like he's gonna get traded, isn't he?
Yeah,
After
you would
listening to
think.
that, yeah, now I'm thinking maybe he just really didn't like Kevin Patullo and that was the only issue. If that's the case, great. I just think it's so weird. Like this is a 180
It
from
is
how he was acting in season. And if
completely.
anything, not that I want him to be a drama queen at all, but if I had to pick, I'd rather him do it now, like out of season,
Yeah,
than
agreed.
in season. So I mean I hope he's happy because we talked about it before we got on here. If you want to win a Super Bowl,
Do you need a guy like that?
it's usually not good practice to trade away a top five receiver.
Yeah.
You know, it's just
Yeah.
not something you want to do.
It's not. And especially a top five receiver that would come with one of the largest cap hits the Eagles may
Yeah, right.
ever undertake.
He's gonna
And
make that Castellanos 20 million look like nothing.
yeah, it definitely will. So the other thing, Jake, hey, let's put on our PR and journalism hats for a second with this because
Okay.
so this is a different scenario because although Castellanos was a known at times kind of cantankerous individual in the locker room, I don't think that he has a reputation that AJ Brown has when it comes to kind of being like cancerous in a way. I don't know that that is
Maybe.
always 100% fair to put on AJ Brown saying, "Hey, I got
Right.
to get the ball," because if you look at his stats last season and compare them to the previous several seasons, they were clearly down and he clearly was not being utilized in the way that he
Right.
needed to be, as evidenced by the number of hitch routes that he ran.
Most
I
in the league.
exactly, and I saw there was a composite of all of his routes during the course of the 2025 season, and the majority of them were he was lined up on one side and he's doing an out route to the sideline, a comeback, or just stopping where he is. I mean, there was almost nothing. There were maybe 15 routes going over the middle, and some of those were yard after
Right.
catch. Like that's the
Yeah.
path that he took.
He just
So
decided to run that way later. Yeah.
yes, yeah. So clearly this was an elementary level offense for this guy, but I think that there is a possibility, Jake, that this again was a PR move, that his agent is telling him, you need to be the team player guy because
Oh,
the
maybe.
knock on you, going back to your time in Tennessee, the reason that Tennessee got off of you was that you were not a team player in the locker room, that you were kind of a,
A me
hot-headed
guy.
individual, a me
Yeah.
guy, a diva wide receiver, whatever label you want to put on it, and they shipped you off to Philadelphia. Do you really want to be in a situation again where you are, put in a position where you have to go to a new team because of how you act? And if you go to that new team and they think you're a diva, will they pay you less because they think you're a
Oh,
diva?
that's interesting.
So I money talks, Jake, and I think that that could be part of the equation here. That this may be just a softening for the fan base, a softening of his public perception or public persona potentially, and then an opening of the door potentially for other teams to say, well, this guy maybe he isn't as bad as people are saying that he is. I will say we watched the To era in this
Oh
city.
yeah.
We
We're doing sit-ups
remember
in the driveway, baby.
Jake. Okay, I want to tell you a story,
Oh.
Jake. I want to tell you a story about this. It's hilarious to me now because when this happened, keep in mind I was 9 years old. But there were reports in the 2005 season or after the 2004 season and going to the 2005 season that McNabb and To were, kind of spatting. And my 9 year old brain heard the phrase To threw McNabb under the bus. And I was like, first of all, why was there a bus around? And why would To throw McNabb underneath of it?
He
That
could
is,
die.
yeah, that is, shouldn't he be charged with a crime?
I can't believe they let him do that.
Yeah. But
That's wild.
I know. Yeah. Later, somebody informed me that, in fact, that's just a way of saying, he kind of put him down. But so I always think back to that era and I think back to the way that To handled that circus of media and then going to the Cowboys and then, crying, saying that's my quarterback with Tony Romo.
That's my quarterback, man.
To me, Jake, that is the poster child for a diva wide receiver. And
Yeah.
I do not think that AJ Brown comes even close to that. I think some of it is assigned to him or assumed of him because of his status as a number one wide receiver in the NFL and because of his dominance in the league and because, honestly, of his physical similarities when it comes to comparisons to To. Big guy, tall, strong, fast, and plays for the Eagles and has a one in the single digit column of his jersey number. So it's all the things are lining up, Jake.
It's all the Illuminati is real. You're on to something. I wonder if you're giving too much credit to his agent or his PR team or whoever, because I wish they would have told him that, after the first four times he did it mid-season.
True.
You know what I mean?
That's true.
But the one that you might be right. I just think something needed to happen for him to be willing to listen.
Right.
And for me right now, the only thing that's really changed is Petullo's gone.
Yeah.
And to your point, we'll get into this a little later, but he just landed a job with the Dolphins as the passing game coordinator. Hey, Miami, that was the problem down here.
Yeah. Did you watch it?
We were having issues with the passing game that he was creating. I question that whole organization's management already.
Baffling.
And that one, that didn't make it any better.
It did not. So I think after this, Jake, the reality is we still don't know where AJ Brown is going to be in the 2026 season. I would like to see him back in an Eagles uniform. I would like to see a prolific passing offense, and I would like to see the Eagles make a deep playoff run again. And I think they have the pieces to do it. The question is going to be, can the coaching staff help put this together? And here we go, Jake. Here we go.
I've been dreading this. Okay, so
I
I've been dreading talking about this.
Me too.
One of the most important position coaches, not just on the Eagles, but I truly believe the entire NFL, is leaving Philadelphia after 13 years. 1-3. Jeff Stoutland bowing out over reports of seeing his role diminished in the run game. So,
Yeah.
What was the big knock on the Eagles this year? We couldn't run the ball.
Yeah.
Is that the reason that we had such a poor running game this year? Was it because Nick and Kevin Patullo
Yeah.
took power away
From Jeff
from
Stoutland.
one of the best position coaches in the league? If so, I'm sad, I'm angry, and now I'm at a place where I'm happy we egged his house. If that's
Yeah.
the case, if that was because there's two people that I think make that call. Either it's Nick or it's Kevin.
Yeah.
If it's Kevin, I'm glad he's gone. If it's Nick, I'm furious.
Yeah.
I don't know whose call it was.
Nick, if it was Nick, Nick needs to remember that Jeff Stoutland developed all of the players that won him a Super Bowl, got him to a Super Bowl in 2022, won him an NFC championship, and have gotten him to 5 straight play. Like
Yeah.
you cannot understate, Jake, the value of offensive line specifically in this league. It may be
Right.
the most important position group. I don't care. I don't care what kind of quarterback you put out there. I don't care what kind of wide receivers, what kind of running backs you put out there. If you don't have an offensive line, we have seen it time and again through the Bengals, through bad seasons from the Rams, from bad seasons from all these teams. If you don't have an offensive line, you have no prayer of winning in this league.
It's an easy question to ask. Name me the last Super Bowl winning team with a bad offensive line. You can't. Like they don't exist. They might not be like top tier. They might be like mid pack, but there's never a team that wins the Super Bowl with a bad offensive line.
Like dead
Doesn't
last.
exist.
No,
Right.
because you're
Doesn't
getting
exist.
sacked every play and you don't have any penetration when it comes to the running game. You can't get off your blocks. You're dead in the water. The play doesn't start until you start moving the other team.
And let's be honest, last year, I don't think it's any type of bias to say we had the best offensive line. I mean,
2024 season.
Yeah.
Yes.
Sorry. Got to be more specific now that the Super Bowl is done.
Yeah.
But yeah, the season we won the Super Bowl, we had the best offensive line in the game.
Hands down.
And you win the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
In dominant fashion, by the way. That's how it works. That's how this league works. And when we were there when we lost to the Chiefs in the Super Bowl before that, I think we had a top 3 unit. Mm-hmm. Again, that's just how this league works. If you've got a good line, like having a good offensive line brings everything up. It raises the floor. Like if you have a really good O-line, you're not going to be a bad team, right? You're going to be at least like 500, even if your specialists stink, because at least you can march down the field.
Right.
And then it raises the ceiling. If you have a good unit, the sky becomes the limit. Whereas if you're the Bengals and you have every specialist under the sun, but you can't keep Joe Burrow out of a cast for a whole season.
Yeah.
Of course. You see what's happening with the Bengals, right? And somehow, by the way, Zach Taylor still has a job, which is crazy to
Unreal.
me.
Unreal.
All those coaching changes this year, and Zach Taylor just dodging bullets.
Not me.
Yeah, you can't get me. Like Harbaugh got fired and Taylor didn't.
Burrow's got to have something to do with that. That is crazy though.
Maybe.
But perfect example, Jake, as to what you were just talking about. Miles Sanders' campaign in 2022.
Oh, that's
right?
The proof of that pudding. That's a great call.
Great season in 2022. Goes to another team, does nothing.
Stinker.
Goes to the Panthers, does nothing. Goes to the Cowboys last year, does nothing. And who then comes into play? A running back by the name of Saquon Barkley, who in the New York Giants franchise was a good player, was a better player than a lot of other in his category, a lot of other running backs, but became the best in the league, hands down.
The best.
In very large part, maybe entirely because of this incredible offensive line championed by none other than Jeff Stoutland, the coach that we basically just said, get lost.
So this is why, like, Nick Sirianni has some fault in it. But here's how I think it happened. And this is pure speculation. I'm not an insider. I don't know. I haven't read a report that states this. I'm just assuming.
Hmm.
I don't think Nick is stupid enough to be the guy that initiated that conversation. I don't think he's the guy that
Right.
said, "Hey, Jeff, back off.
Yeah.
Kevin's here now." I don't think it
Yeah.
was like that. What I think happened is Kevin said, "I want control of the running game," and Nick backed him up.
Hmm.
That's what I think happened.
Yeah.
Now, I don't agree with that decision, but I will respect it. What I won't respect is that you bring in a new offensive coordinator
Hmm.
with even you could probably say less experience than Kevin Patullo, if that's such a thing that it can exist.
Yeah.
And clearly, Stoutland didn't leave until after that appointment. There must have been a meeting where Nick said, "No, you don't get any more power back." And that is where I can't forgive him. And I won't forgive him. Unless we win a Super Bowl this year, that is completely on Nick.
Yeah.
If we win a Super Bowl this year, I'll put my hands up and say I was wrong. Short of that, that's Nick's fault, and it's ridiculous.
Let's just okay. We just need to give Jeff Stoutland like almost like a moment of silence here because
I
we have to remember, Jake, how many quality offensive linemen have been under his tutelage. And it starts with maybe the best offensive lineman that the Eagles have ever had in Jason Kelsey, an undersized guy who, if I'm not mistaken, was drafted in 2012, which would be the same time that Jeff Stoutland was added to the squad.
Yep.
So that career, which probably, again, I think, biased, of course, but I think up there with Jeff Saturday as, one and
Oh,
two, maybe best centers ever.
he's a Hall of Famer, and I don't think
Easy.
I think you're an idiot if you're questioning it. Maybe not first ballot, but he will be in the Hall of Fame.
I
He
agree.
revolutionized what it meant to be a center
He
in
did.
this league.
He did.
Like he changed the game. He was doing stuff that no one had ever seen before, pulling on passing screens
Yeah.
and hitting nickel, like nickel cornerbacks.
Yeah.
Crazy stuff.
Hmm.
Freak athlete. And again, like you said, I think a guy a lot of people went, why'd they pick that guy? And Jeff Stoutland, and read anything that Kelsey said about Stout. Like
Yeah.
he loves the guy.
He
And I
does.
don't think you develop that kind of love without some acceptance or acknowledgement of the fact that he played a big part in shaping who you were.
Yeah.
Let's talk about another guy. I honestly, maybe again, this might be bias showing. I think Kelsey always had greatness in him, and maybe
Yeah.
Stoutland just helped bring it out quicker.
Hmm.
Let's talk about Jordan Mailata.
I know. That was the next name I was going to talk about too. Yeah.
This guy didn't know the rules of American football when
Yeah.
he was drafted by the Eagles. And Jeff Stoutland turned him into an elite left tackle. The
Yeah.
hardest position. Some like I think there's a lot of critics that say left tackle might be the hardest position in football.
Right.
And a guy that has never played. Now, granted, you
He has
can't
physical
teach a guy
attributes.
to, yeah, a
that-
guy
yeah.
can't teach a guy to be 6'8" or whatever Mailata
Yeah.
is. But
Yeah.
to be able to turn a guy that's never played the game before into an elite left tackle.
Yeah.
We got a new guy. His name's Chris Cooper. I don't know much about him. I'm going to be willing to bet that Chris Cooper doesn't have that in him.
Probably not. Yeah.
Just
Probably
going to go out
not.
on a limb and say that he can't take a complete like diamond in the rough,
Yeah.
identify it, and then polish the heck out of it
Yeah.
until it became one of the best left tackles in the game. I don't see it.
And let's just this another good example here of how important I think Jeff Stoutland is in being able to figure out where people fit best. Mekhi Becton
Oh,
last
that's a
year.
great one.
Last
Been
year.
a tackle the entire time,
Yep.
the entire career. He's
And
a
then
tackle.
they move him to guard, and he is one of the best guards in the league. Played very, very strong. 1 year removed from that, without Stoutland and his tutelage, what does he look like? Garbage. So you can't understate the value of a good offensive line coach. And that's why I think the Eagles organization has kept him over successive regimes. I mean, this guy was
Right.
here during the first Super Bowl. This guy was here during the second and the third that the
Right.
Eagles have had in the last decade here. I mean, this is a constant that you are now losing. And guys like Lane Johnson, who have grown up in this league with Stoutland and his leadership, are going to miss it. And
Oh yeah.
you're hoping that a guy like there was talk, Jake, that a guy like Jason Kelsey would be a good candidate for one of these positions. Now, given his media appearances and given his,
Yeah, he's making too much
national,
money.
yeah, and his podcast and everything, it just didn't feel like that was going to happen. But
Yeah.
that's the sort of caliber of, person that I think would be close enough to try to get to a Jeff Stoutland, but Stoutland taught Kelsey. So we can't understate the loss that we have just suffered as an organization here.
After seeing how the offensive coordinator search came out, why not make Jeff the offensive coordinator? Hear me out. Why not? Oh, he's never called plays before. Guess what? Neither has this guy.
Yeah. Yes. True.
I I I
Well,
mean, come on.
he's not the okay. The one thing that I don't like sometimes about this league, there is some like ageism here at play, and
Yeah,
I
right.
think
Let's get the 33-year-old or
yes,
whatever this kid is,
yes,
and not, promote a guy that, again, like, we're not inside the ropes. We don't know, but like, seemed to have a really huge hand in the Super Bowl win.
of course he did. I mean, that was the most dominant line performance the Eagles franchise
Yeah,
has maybe ever had, and they revolutionized a play that is still to this day one of the most
right.
unstoppable plays in the league, and other teams have tried to replicate it and cannot.
Yeah.
That alone should tell you all you need to know about the value that Jeff Stoutland has had for this franchise. But I look, this was a gut punch, and it really came out of nowhere. Like it felt like Stout was going to be the one constant for this franchise for the long haul, especially if Nick Sirianni is still going to be around. Why would he be getting rid of, or why would he be trying to dump on Stout when he just helped him win a Super Bowl? It just doesn't make any sense at all. And then to bring him in, we have a new offensive line coach. Spent the last 4 seasons in Minnesota. Now he did work during his time in Minnesota with Sean Mannion, the new offensive coordinator. Um, he was a guard for the Broncos and had a career-ending injury. But
Yeah.
you know, we watched this Vikings offensive line last year, Jake, and they got pummeled by the Eagles defensive line in that game against what turned out to be a Carson Wentz led offense that week.
Yeah. Well, here's a problem I'm having. I looked into the Pro Football Focus, like the rankings,
Mm-hmm.
and when he took over
Mm-hmm.
the Vikings, the offensive line was ranked 12th.
Okay.
And last year, you want to know what they were ranked?
28th.
18th. But still, that's the wrong direction.
Yeah. Yes.
It's
Now,
they
it,
got worse.
in his defense, and I will only say this just to play devil's advocate, Jacob, and I only use your government name when it's serious.
Don't use my God-given name.
um, so I saw a report that the Vikings offense had 25 different line combinations last year. So there was some injury issue at play.
You're right. So guess what they were the year before? 18th. It's still the wrong direction.
Okay. So still not good.
Yeah, it went 12th to 15th, 18th, 18th. So maybe you could say it was a victory that they didn't go further down the list
Yeah,
last year,
maybe.
but it's still the wrong direction.
It is. And you can
Supposed to go the other way.
you can make an argument too, Jake. Obviously there was a fall off in line play for the Eagles this year. That's no mystery. I like that probably happened because of injuries as well. I mean, the Cam Jurgens was, although he made the Pro Bowl this year, he was a shell of his former self
Oh yeah.
this year on the
Yeah.
field. And it looked like, and there are reports out there. We need to talk about the offensive line, actually, Jake, because there are reports out there that Landon Dickerson is considering retirement at 27,
Uh-huh.
which,
Yeah.
when we talked about him before, and it was like probably, I don't know, a couple months ago, we talked about this aging offensive line and this problem of, what's going to come next here. And I referred to Dickerson as being much older than he actually is. Part of the reason I think I did that is just he is looking so battered out there.
Right.
Just the way that he is walking, even is like, I mean, like on his
Yeah, like
inside, like
yeah.
just knees looking back, like every part of him. It's like he's really lumbering down the field here. Um,
I'm getting
so
like Brandon Brooks syndrome. You know what I mean?
a
Like
little bit,
like a
yeah,
dude that was just on top of the game and just his body wouldn't cooperate. And listen, I don't think I really appreciated how rough it is until I watched the Jason Kelsey documentary. Do you remember watching him like with ice strapped up all his legs
yeah,
on a Monday
yeah,
and he's
yeah.
trying to play in the backyard with his kid and he like can't keep up with like the 2 or 3 year old kid? Like that's the kind of punishment these guys take. And it's
It's
like
bad.
it's hard to really fault a guy for
Hmm.
considering retirement
Hmm.
when you see images like that because we really don't, other than that documentary, it's not really something you'd get to see. But oh my goodness. Like these guys are, what is he, 27, you said? Like I can't imagine having to live the rest of your life with your joints falling apart like that. I can't blame. I hope he doesn't retire as a fan, but as a person, as a human being, I I, I can't say I blame him.
I can't either. It's, you know, Jason talked about in that documentary too, like to, wanting to make sure that he was able to play with his kids on the carpet.
Right.
During like is as
Being
he
able
got
to get
older.
back up. Yeah.
Yeah, being able to stand up and like I understand that. Actually, I think I've watched a little bit of um, Landon Dickerson's wife's content, and like he's fixing cabinets and stuff. I mean, just living a normal like everyman life, kind of outside of
Yeah.
football, and like that's valuable. And he's making money. He's making probably enough money that it's he can sustain himself for a while, and he's still Landon Dickerson, the Super Bowl winning right guard
Right.
for the Eagles, and then next to him, Jake. Um,
Mm,
is none other than Lane Johnson, who was unable to come
yeah.
back and play in the playoffs. And there's talk about the possibility that he will retire as well. Now, there was some good news. There are some reports out of the NFL that it is looking more likely that he will return. And there was some videos he was posting on Instagram doing some like serious lifts, like lifting 650 pounds or something like
Stuff that
serious.
you don't do when you're not trying to come back to the NFL.
Exactly, exactly.
Yeah.
So I think he is still probably trying to track that way and doesn't want. I would just think from just seeing Lane Johnson and his interviews and how he's carried himself over the years, I would not think that he would want his career to end like that on an injury. Just the way that he
Right.
has battled through so many things and has been such a workhorse for this team. But that would also be a crushing blow because if you enter this offseason or enter this, true free agency period and the draft period without a starting
Oh,
guard and a starting
and tackle.
right
Yeah.
tackle, that would be near disaster, if you ask me.
Especially because we don't really have the pieces in house.
We
Like we
don't.
really, really don't.
No.
And yeah, it's almost like one of you can go, but you can't both go. You know what I mean? Like I don't want either of them to leave, but
Yeah.
please, Lord, don't let them both leave at the same time. That would be that like between Stout leaving, a new offensive coordinator, and then if you lose the both of those guys, I feel like unfortunately you could say before the season even starts that like we're probably not going all the way this year. And
Yeah.
I hate having a roster this talented and still saying that. Um, but unfortunately, I just think that's the reality if both those guys leave.
I think so too. And um man, I think this is a make or break season for Nick Sirianni too. And I could see if either of these dominoes fall and there's no Dickerson and honestly, no healthy offensive line this year, I think could really
Mhm.
sink Nick Sirianni's Philadelphia Eagles career.
Yeah,
But
or
if
at
one of
least
those two
like
retire,
failing to add depth. Like if they
yeah,
add some depth, because that was the problem this year is when one of those guys was out, we're bringing in Pryor or
yeah,
what a Toth or yeah,
Toth,
and
yeah.
it's just it's
Who played
not great.
honestly at times when he was coming in for the center position, Toth didn't play all that bad.
Right. Yeah. Especially considering that's not really like his deal
Yeah,
at center. But but again, how much of that was Stoutland, Marshall?
I know. Preparing
I,
people to be in
take
positions and take
right,
over the
take him
reins.
out. Now you got this guy who, like I said, oversaw an offensive line getting worse. I don't know. I felt so sure that when Kevin Petula left, that I was like, we're gonna be so back next year.
Yeah,
And now I just can't help but think like I'm having a hard time being positive about next year.
I know.
And
I know.
I need a draft. You know what I like I need an NFL
Yeah,
draft.
yeah.
Some or a free agent sign. I need something as a fan to get excited again because right now it's like those dark clouds that I talked about with Nick Castellanos are getting darker and I don't have an umbrella, Marshall. I don't have an umbrella.
And I think we're going to have to reload when it comes to the offensive line, and it's going to have to
Yep.
be probably in this draft, and we'll get to like the picks on, but but the building time is now, and there could be some Howie moves that allow
Right.
us to shore up some of these positions. But it just feels like the way things are going, um, we are in need very, very quickly of some
Yeah.
reinforcements at those positions, especially considering just how important this line is when it comes to winning and losing. I mean, you Saquon Barkley's numbers were way down compared to last year because of the offensive line drop off largely. I mean, you can talk about scheme, but to me, it was offensive line was banged up.
Well,
Stoutland didn't have a lot to do to really stop the bleeding out
yeah,
there.
well, and let's talk about scheme. They made him step away from it.
Yeah.
So like Eddie, that was maybe like the one thing that could have saved it, and they ignored it. So that I I have a couple of friends that are Nick Sirianni haters, and I'm not one of them.
Yeah.
But like that Stoutland when that Stoutland report came out, man, I was like hopping on the Nick out bandwagon, and I don't want to be that guy, but I'm just having a hard time stomaching this one. This one hurt. What little insider info when I when I read the news for the first time, I let out like an oh no, and my wife thought someone was dead. And I said
We're dressed for the
Jeff.
funeral,
They
Jake.
said Jeff Stoutland's leaving, and she said that reaction was totally over the top, but I get it. Like she understood. She's a Birds fan. She knows, but she's like I get it. That was fine.
Okay, warranted. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's kind of what it was. She's like, oh my god, what happened? Like thinking something was really wrong. Jeff Stoutland's leaving. She's like, no.
So bad. Well,
Yeah.
you know what? We do have things to look forward to in the Philly sports world. We're gonna be very shortly having some Phillies baseball to talk about, which is
Thank
very
goodness.
exciting. That'll get us over this hump of just
Yes.
Eagles madness that we have been dealing with for the past couple of weeks here with offensive coordinator change and now the offensive line coordinator change, and who knows what's to come for the rest of the NFL offseason, Jake. But if it's anything like the first few weeks here, for the Eagles at least, boy,
I'm
oh
gonna
boy.
cry.
Yeah, we're in for a heck of a few months.
Please let it be better.
Please let it be better. But hey, Phillies are up next, and we will hope for a bit better results than last year when it comes to this season. And we will get our first glimpse very, very soon. We will be back. The love of Broad Street.